When I became a widow, I stayed silent about two things my husband left me: a monthly pension and a second home in Spain. I wanted peace, not pity. But 1 week later, my son sent a cold message that changed everything. Start packing. The house has been sold. I stared at the screen, then smiled. Because I wasn't packing clothes. I was packing proof. And the son who thought his grieving mother was weak had no idea how badly he had underestimated me. The funeral was crowded, loud, and strangely fake. People cried loudly, hugged tightly, and whispered behind hands, but their eyes kept drifting around my house like they were already deciding what belonged to them. I noticed everything. Grief didn't blur my vision, it sharpened it. My son Ryan stood near the entrance, greeting guests like a host, not a mourner. He barely looked at me. When he did, it was quick, impatient, like my sadness was slowing him down. I moved quietly through the day, thanking people, listening, memorizing faces and words. That night, after everyone left, the house felt hollow. I sat alone and felt the weight of silence. Then my phone buzzed. A pension payment had arrived. Large, steady, secure. My husband's last promise fulfilled. I didn't tell anyone. 2 days later, Ryan came over unannounced. He talked about my future, about how the house was too big, too expensive, too much. His concerns sounded practiced. When he left, my phone buzzed again. A stranger sent me screenshots of my own house listed online. Living room, kitchen, backyard. The message read, "Your son is moving fast." I didn't cry. I walked into my husband's office, opened a drawer he once warned me about, and found a USB labeled in his handwriting, "For her protection." That's when I understood. He knew this would happen. The next morning, I stayed quiet. Silence makes people careless. When Ryan called, I sounded weak and unsure. He suggested moving again and offered to handle paperwork. That word made my stomach tighten. That evening, my neighbor casually mentioned Ryan speaking to a realtor. Everything was lining up. I opened the USB files and found the truth. The house was protected under a trust. Only I could authorize a sale. Ryan couldn't touch it unless I signed. The next day, he arrived with documents and a pen, smiling too much. He explained how I could let him manage things on my behalf. I read the paper slowly. Power of attorney. Full control. I calmly pushed it back and said no. His mask slipped instantly. He warned me not to make things difficult. I told him he already had. When he left, angry and frustrated, I finally accepted the truth. My son wasn't worried about me. He was desperate for my house. Ryan's threats became bolder. He said I was alone, confused, emotional. I stayed calm. Then I opened another file on the USB. His financial records, debt notices, loan defaults, a final warning before legal action. That's when it made sense. He wasn't greedy. He was drowning. That night, he texted me, "Start packing. The house has been sold." I replied with one word, "Okay." Then I called my husband's lawyer. He wasn't surprised. He told me not to leave, not to sign anything, and to prepare. My husband had planned for this. Every threat, every lie Ryan told was already anticipated. I wasn't reacting anymore. I was waiting. Late that night, 2 men came to my door claiming the house had been sold and I needed to leave. They had no legal documents, no buyer name, just instructions from my son. I calmly sent them away. Then I called Ryan. He said, "Good," when I told him. That single word burned deeper than any insult. The next morning, I placed a suitcase near the door to make him think I was leaving. When Ryan returned with movers, confident and smug, I let him walk in. The moment he ordered them to start taking my things, I raised my phone and told him I was recording. My lawyer was listening. His face went pale. Then the police arrived. Ryan froze. For the first time since my husband's death, I felt steady, strong, and very much in control.